This layout represents the main terminus of Thomas's Branch line in the island of Solidor. The line behind the station goes to locomotive and carriage sheds, stone dressing sheds, and a stretch of line laid tramway fashion along the roadside for 5.5 miles up to Anfield Quarry. The area shown covers the station only. Beyond the tunnel mouth are Aylesbridge, Knapford, Teignmouth, and other places in the outside world, according to Wilbert Awdry. The Frarquhar Branch layout number 1 has its origins in 1955, when Wilbert was asked to build a simple model railway to be shown in the hobbyist section at the 1956 Wisbech Trade Fair. Wilbert obliged and began work, choosing to build something transportable. This would be a 6-foot by 4-foot layout that hinged at the center to fold up into a 6-foot by 2-foot by 18-inch box that fit into the boot of his car. The track plan was a continuous circuit with 2 branches. One branch was visible to the public as the station and sidings, while the other was hidden behind the back scene as a fiddle yard along with the rest of the continuous circuit. After a successful week at Wisbech, Wisbech, apologies for mispronunciation, the layout was in high demand locally at fetes, trade fairs, and hobby shows. The layout was always operated in a proper railway-like manner, with a spoken commentary, enabling the viewers to know what was going on and why. In December 1959, an article entitled The Ffarquhar Branch by the Rev Wilbert Awdry was published in Railway Modeler, Volume 10, Issue number 110. Wilbert went over the history of the branch line, how he built the layout, and the details in the scenery among other things. The MK1 layout was originally run by Thomas, Percy, and Toby, with Duck being brought along to the expositions as a spare engine. At the Model Railway Club 1963 exposition, there was a newcomer to the layout. Daisy made her public debut in model form for the first time. At the 1964 exposition, Stephanie made his debut on the Special Observation Saloon train. And finally, at the 1965 exposition, Mavis made her debut on the layout 7 years before she would star in a Railway Series book. The MK1 layout ran all the way until 1967. The decision to rebuild the layout was made up of 2 main factors. Wilbert and his family had moved to Strout in 1965, and the large layout did not make the best use of space in his new railway room. Secondly, the car that the layout was designed to fit in for transportation had been sold. Wilbert covered his plans for rebuilding Frarquhar in the January 1968 edition of Railway Modeler, alongside plans for a Scarlatti Railway 009 layout. Neither of these plans came to fruition. Instead, Frarquhar was rebuilt in a similar fashion, but the proposed scenic section to Aylesbridge was dropped in favor of a much simpler corner piece depicting the Hackenbach River and tunnel. The 009 Scarlatti Railway layout was never built. In its place, however, was Eusted Road, a mid-Sodor Railway layout in 009 that would go on to inspire a Railway Series book. Part of the Frarquhar MK1 made their way onto Eusted Road. Various bits of foliages, trees, and fencing were used alongside Hackenbach Halt, being rebranded and reused as Casenhawen Halt. Frarquhar MK2 was first shown in 1972 at the Bristol Easter Week exposition in its short format, like how it is currently displayed in the Narrow Gauge Railway Museum at the Telegraph Railway. The L-shaped extension was completed in time for the Model Railway Club Central Hall 1973 exposition, whereas the extension was only displayed at expositions that were to last over 3 days. Not much changed in regards to the rolling stock operating on the layout, except that Oliver and James MK2 had been built and used on the Saloon Special alongside Stephanie and the L and W.R. Bloomer. With the sad passing of Wilbert Awdry in 1997, Frarquhar Branch MK2 and the majority of Wilbert's model railway collection were left to the Telegram Railway Preservation Society. The layout was restored to operation in 2001 by the Telegram Railway Preservation Society and the Barrow Model Railway Club, Since then, it has been to a handful of expositions in the UK and Ireland. Frarquhar Branch MK2 now resides within the narrow gauge railway museum at Tolly Wharf on the Tully Railway as part of the Awdry study display. The layout is still operational and goes out to the occasional expositions. The MK1 layout operation was originally shown in either one long 40-minute sequence or two 20-minute sequences, covering a morning's work, 7:25 to 1:05, at Ffarquhar and Hockenbeck. By 1965, a third sequence was added. The operation now covered 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. The MK2 layout operation is shown in three sequences, covering a whole day's timetable at Ffarquhar, 6:45 to 11:04 p.m. Each sequence is about 20 minutes in length.